Okay, so we're working on a couple different things here. First thing that we're working on is I went through and I mowed the lawn today. I don't know. Maybe it needed it, maybe it didn't need it. You can kind of see in the background there. Take a look, you get right in there. Still looks like things are recovering from putting the mulch in. The nice thing I will say is that I did put a small amount of 2,4-D down on this in quinclorac, and I'm starting to see some of that where things in the broadleaf spectrum starting to die back. Now that being said, there are a few here where I don't know, I almost need another treatment of that. One of the things that I've always wondered about, and I'm not really sure that I understand, is when I've looked at the 2,4-D instructions on the box, it says, you know, only use it once or twice a year. Don't know why that is. I think probably environmental concerns, but I'm not sure. So if we look here again, this is what you would consider crabgrass. Spreads a little bit more horizontally, where you look at some of these other grasses that spread vertically. And what I understand is a quinclorac should kill this back, so I'm going to hit it with quinclorac one more time just to see how it responds to that. But just in general, I will say, like, most of this was doing really well. I looked at the weather today, or not the weather, the year to date. We've received 42 inches of rain. Year to date, we typically get about 38, so we're almost 4 inches ahead of what we normally get. So that being said, this side over here gets a ton of water, like right through here, and it just stands. So the difficult thing has been, you know, trying to get this to grow grass, because it gets very little light because it's blocked off from the other side. The other thing that I've noticed, and just this year more so than any other time, and I assume it has to do with the rain, but the moss has grown so well through here. What I'm hoping for, you can see that. I mean, that is a massive amount of moss growth. Now, that being said, I mean, that's starting to break down some of that soil, but it thrives in a very acidic soil. So I'm hoping that we can change the pH of the soil a little bit with some of these soil amendment that we're going to put down here. I'm just super curious as to why the moss has just gone absolutely haywire this year, because that is a lot of moss. And you can see that there's grass growing actually up within the moss. And if you look at that root layer there, you don't see anything really going on from a grass standpoint. I see a few little roots down in there, but if we look at where we actually pulled this up from in the lawn, really not anything going on there at that level. And there really isn't a whole lot going on with the grass at this level either. So super infertile soil. Moss just has exploded this year, so I'm hoping that we get, you know, some results here. So you can see I pulled the moss up out of the way, and you can see this guy here, another one of these here. So the moss is just kind of taking over right up around that. And I guess if I take my finger, pull it like that, the rest of the grass that's growing there is surviving. That moss being pulled up, so it isn't necessarily killing the grass. I mean, it's not helping it, but you can see the little cultivars that are still there. So no rhyme or reason to it that I can really understand. I assume that it's just super infertile soil, and that we've had just an incredible amount of rain. We've had a couple months where we've gotten 4 or 5 inches of rain. A little bit better look at the backyard here right now. I haven't put any compost over on that other side, so that's going to be the one where we're going to do some soil sampling, hopefully later today, tear some of that stuff up and get it sent in to analyze stuff. So. Okay, so the next thing, or actually the first thing that I'm doing through is I went through and I made some rough measurements of my side yard. I stepped everything off. I wasn't super precise, but I measured, you know, one of those was, and again, these are yards, 9 yards by 12 yards. You do the math. Makes it 18 by 36 feet for 108 square feet. 3 yards by 21 yards is a side yard. That's 9 foot by 63 feet, gives me 567 square feet. I'm looking at that, and for some reason the math seems horrendously wrong for the side yard. Man, can that be that much square footage? Because the 9 by 12 section that I measured. Okay, let's go remeasure some stuff. All right, I have no idea what I was thinking, because what I actually did here, if you look at this, I do need to do 18 multiplied times 36, and what I did is I did 9 times 12. So if we go really quickly here, take a look at 18 times 36. That's 648 square feet. That makes a whole lot more sense. And that means the side yard is roughly, it's not quite as much, but again, I've got, in the backyard, I've got about, looks like 1,000 square foot. In the front yard, I've got about 1,000 square foot. So right now, we're just going to go with treating the front yard. So I'm going to take a look at my instructions here. Got this from my biostimulant package. Ordered some RGS, Aerate, Humic 12, Microgreen. What's really great in here, and I watched a video on this last night. They talk about what you can and what you can't combine when you're going to treat some of these things. So the first thing I'm going to be putting down is RGS, okay, and the Aerate. I'm going to do these in the order that they recommend. So looks like the RGS and the soil and plant stimulant are going to go down, and the Aerate liquid aeration is going to go down as well. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at what we've got in the pack here. This is the Aerate, which is perfect. Okay. Of course, this one, where I've got most of the product out here, is my RGS. So I'm going to make an absolute mess. I'm pretty sure of it. So it looks like with the Aerate product, shake well, it says a minimum of 6 ounces per 1,000 square foot and a maximum of 9 ounces per 1,000 square foot. My yard sucks, so let's go with 9 ounces per 1,000 square foot. So I've got a couple different things. I actually don't know where I put it now that I am looking for it. First of all, what I'm going to be using is this orthodilin spray. Hose end sprayer. That's just recommended by John. I like the concept. It's got 3 different settings as far as nozzle settings. You can see on the side it's got variable ounce control, teaspoon control, so I can set those up. Super simple to use. Put it in, spray it, figure it out. So the one thing that I do need to do is figure out what my spray rate is with that. I'm gonna go look for this. Okay, so I found what I was looking for. Handy dandy mixing cup, which if I actually kind of look at it now, it's got ounces on this side over here, so I'm going to be looking to add about 9 ounces per 1,000 square feet, because I know that my front yard's roughly 1,000 square feet. So let's go ahead and take this out. I'm really concerned about dealing with that here in a minute. Real question is I also need to figure out my settings on here in regards to how many ounces and how to use that orthodilin spray. I know John put a video on here. Let's take a look. What we've been doing. Okay, so I went through and I did a couple calculations. The ortho sprayer will actually put out about 2 gallons per minute. So what you've got on your side, you've got your dial settings right here. What these dial settings are telling you is what the flow rate is per gallon of flow. So if this puts out 2 gallons per minute, then that means that every 30 seconds, an ounce comes out. So if I'm putting down 9 ounces, that means that in I have 5 minutes at the 1 ounce setting to go through 1,000 square feet, okay? So what happens is that as I dial this up, I go up to 2 ounces. That means since I've got 2 gallons per minute, every gallon I'm putting out 2 ounces of product, okay? So if I really want to give myself some more time where I can casually walk the lawn, get everything done, what I can do is I can fill up this hopper with water after I've already put down some of the product into here. And that gives me the opportunity not to be rushing around the lawn quite as much. So the other thing that I wanted to do before I get going here too far, get the RGS out of here and clean everything up. So I'm going to check the video, make sure that things are working out well there, and I'm going to take a look and see what's going on. Okay, so here we go. It's not as widescreen. I also don't think that any of that was in focus as I was going through things before, but I'm going to put on some gloves, just a little bit of protection here. I'm not too worried about the product here. It's not like it's a lethal product. Humic acid and sea kelp extract, but it's more so that I don't have to clean up my hands later on, and I've got some protective gloves up above if I really, really need it. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out some of this and get set up. And get this unboxed. And I'm actually going to take the product, I believe, that is in the bottom of this. What a mess. And pour that in and measure out how many ounces of that product is actually sitting there. What an absolute mess. Still don't understand what the issue is, and it seems like it's specific with the RGS bottles with the top, and why we end up with these explosions. Okay, so let's clean this bottle up, and then let's get some product measured out. At least the label cleans up nicely. I'll be able to tell you what exactly we're going to do from an ounce. 3,000. That's the other thing that's kind of interesting, is that when I go ahead and add these two together, that I'm actually going to increase what my requirement is from a flow rate standpoint. I'm not just going to be working with just 9 ounces, but I'm going to end up with more ounces of the product, which means that I'm actually going to put out more than that 1 ounce per gallon, because I'm going to have more product. That'll give me a little bit more than, just a couple minutes or 5 minutes to get all of that done. If I want to reduce that rate, I can give myself 4 or 5 minutes. And 4 or 5 minutes doesn't seem like a whole lot. But in my little tiny front lawn, which I got to think about, I'm not doing just the front lawn. I'm doing both the side yard and the front lawn. I'm going to be working to get that whole thing done in 5 minutes. So we'll see. I kind of laid out my hose, got everything prepped for what I'm actually going to be doing. And now I think we're good. And the real question is, do I need to shake this sucker up? Shaking it away from my face. I just want to agitate that as well as I can. So taking a look at an RGS here, looks like Minimum 6 ounces per thousand, a maximum of 6 ounce, or minimum 3, maximum 6 ounces per thousand. Okay, so that means that I'm doing 6 ounces per thousand. There's no seal to break here. That's obviously already been taken care of. I am curious. Yep. Smells like fertilizer. Okay, and then you notice that on this side of my cup here, I've got my ounces, and I'm looking for 6 ounces of the product. And we're good for that. 6 ounces of the RGS. I'm going to take this RGS and put it somewhere where I know it's not going to explode. Open up my ortho dial and spray here. Make sure my usage guide is out of here. And dump that 6 ounces in there. Take that with a little bit of water and just rinse that out. Later, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to dump this extra ounce that's in this bag out. So we're going to end up with slightly more than what we 6 ounce was. Got our aerate, which is the next thing. Take that, get that good and mixed up. And then again, we're looking for 9 ounces too as our max of the aerate. 9 ounces per thousand. The real question is, why don't we have any issues with this product exploding everywhere? Great question. Here's our 9 ounces of aerate. Probably going to keep all this stuff in the same box so it doesn't get lost or make a mess. Okay, these 2 put in here. So if you were calculating at home along with me, I've got a total of 9 ounces plus 6 ounces, let's say 7, but I got a total of 15 ounces that we're going to be trying to run over 1,000 square feet in the front yard. Okay, so 1,000 square feet. We've got, what did I tell you? A total of 15 ounces. If I'm running 2 ounces every minute of product at the 1 ounce setting, that means that I will have approximately 7 minutes and 30 seconds to distribute all of the product on the lawn at the current flow rate. That sounds incredibly doable. It is almost completely dark out. That's how life goes during this time of the season. I'm getting home late, and I got that pretty well cleaned up. I'm gonna go inside. It's water soluble and give it a little rinse. Pretty clean though. I would suggest getting yourself one of these so that you're not baking or cooking with the other one inside. Okay, we are all set. I'm gonna get my ortho dial and spray set up here now. Got her set. Got my trigger on here. I'm gonna get my rate set for 1 ounce. I'm gonna set my phone, set everything up for the next 7 minutes, get ready to go, and I'm gonna put the camera out here and see if we can't get a little bit of video. I've got a few things going on today. So one, I gotta take, today is garbage day, so we're bringing the trash back in. We were nice enough to come and do that this morning. The second thing that I've got going on is I have a mole that comes on a pretty regular basis and just tears up my front lawn. I had at least 2 moles, because there was one mole, there was one mole that I had earlier this year that had come in and I trapped him. So let's take a look. I'll show you what I got going on from a trap standpoint. He comes in every single day. Can't probably see it, but he comes along through here. I've got my mole trap set. He triggered it yesterday. This is a Tomcat mole trap. Works really well. You just got to know where to set it. Take a look at this. Just the growth again of the moss back here. I don't know. It's like we're in the Pacific Northwest with the amount of moss that we have growing. See what's going on there. Just a ton of moss, and I had a really great stand of grass over here last year. This is more of a red fescue, but I mean, you can see just how much moss is growing through this area, and I want to wager it has everything to do with the incredible amount of moisture that we've gotten this year. It's just a mess. Absolute mess. I feel like it's taken away from, you know, what the grass can actually do. Certainly making it difficult probably at the root layer to get oxygen in and out. Who knows? But I'm hoping as we put down some of these products, they're a little bit more basic, that they'll change things at this level for everything. Now, the other thing that I did last night is right in this area is, especially in this area, I put down a ton of 2,4-D. That's what I put down last night. And you can see we're already starting to get a little brown up. The real question is, how effective will that be? How effective will that be? I did that in kind of some of this other area too. I can see some of the broadleaf that was still here started brown. The real question is the quinclorac. That's what I really want to know. Is the quinclorac actually going to do anything in regards to the, I'm trying to say, quinclorac, crabgrass. It's killing me. So I've got some spots with some crabgrass and some other stuff going on right now. Just not real sure whether or not that's going to make a big difference. Let's take a look back at the lawn. It's pretty good right now. You can see everybody else got a pretty solid stand. So not quite as much. These people here, last year they reseeded everything. It looks really, really good. But now this is the first part of March in North Carolina, so we are kind of waiting on things to green up and get going and really, really start progressing. You can see over here where I overseeded some of the stuff last year, that you can see some of these shoots are starting to come back and grow through this level of compost that we have down here, and they're coming through everywhere. I'm pretty excited about that. That is going to be fantastic very soon. But the other problem with the compost, you end up with dirty fingers. Make a mess. You can also see my wildflower bed really starting to come along, but we're waiting for the rest of the lawn to end up looking like this. That is some healthy tall fescue. Healthy tall fescue. And this is what it looks like if you do a good job and you get a nice overseed. This has really come along. So what we're working on. Thanks for listening to me, and see you in the next video.